All right, welcome to the show, everybody. This is episode number 214 of the Iron Coop Fights movies. This episode is available on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and hosted by SoundCloud. I'm Kier, your host. With me on the show today are my co-hosts Emerson
Hey, what's going on?
and Everett.
Hey, what's up?
You can now see our ugly faces. So we're back for one. We're back and it's rebooted. I call this aren't we in the fifth year of the podcast?
Has it been 5 years already? Wow.
I think so.
It would have been 5 years in May, right?
Or 4.
What was it like? We started 2017, right?
No. It's been 5 years. I think.
Yeah, 2017.
Because we started my freshman.
Wait. I don't know. I really don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot. You can see my
For lack of evidence, let's just say 5 years then.
Okay, so we're on video now. I know we have some listeners that are purely audio, and we're trying to make sure that the audio quality is still good. Having said that, this is a new format, and we're not exactly used to it. Everett and I did a Hot Toys podcast last night that I thought went pretty well, all things considered. So we're back this week, and eventually, like, things will move around. My basement's not finished. Eventually things will be different. Emerson will get a new house. And so ideally things will be better if they're not already, but it's good to be back. You know, it's been over 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So I actually don't know all the movies we missed. Now we're going to talk about Black Widow today. And so what we're going to do, we're going to give our ratings, and then we're going to talk about it in spoilers, and then we'll do some gaming news and blah, 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 that sort of thing, with Everett's game at the back of the episode. But let's just talk briefly about some of the other movies that came out. So I know Suicide Squad is out or is about to come out.
I think it's about to come out. I don't think it's out yet.
I think it's this week.
So I want to see Suicide Squad. I want to see The Green Knight.
I saw that.
You already saw it?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to review it for next week.
I won't say anything. We can wait till next week.
I want to see The Green Knight, and then I want to see a movie that comes out a little later. It's The Duel. Did you guys see the trailer for that?
Yes.
I might have sent it to us. Yeah. The Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3. What else came out?
Loki.
Yeah, Loki's.
I'm not done
just
with
finished.
Loki. Yeah, so we can do Loki at the end. Do you guys think it's worth doing? Because I have not finished it, so I don't know if it's.
I think there's some good talking points that we can discuss with it.
Okay. There's also Dune, which has not released yet, right?
Yeah,
No,
that comes
but
out
it
in a
just
couple
had
months.
its final trailer.
The Tomorrow War was garbage, from what I heard.
Oh yeah.
So did we actually not miss
Not much. I mean, this is COVID, right?
Fast and Furious?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind skipping that one.
Okay, so we next week I want to do The Green Knight,
I'm down.
and then after that I actually want to do the first Harry Potter movie.
I am 100% down.
Yeah,
And
I'm down for that.
So I'll explain that later. But all right, so let's get into the synopsis for Black Widow. Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arises. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationships left in her wake long before she became an Avenger. I'm going to explain our rating system. On this show, we give the titles that we have watched a rating of win, draw, or loss. A win is a title that we would highly recommend, while a draw is a title we didn't love but recognize others may appreciate. A loss means we do not recommend the title. Emerson, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so I was teetering between a loss and a draw for pretty much most of this movie. I'm going to give it a draw because, like, I understand why people would like it. There were some things I found interesting, but to be honest, a lot of it didn't feel up to snuff Marvel quality. Now, maybe I'm like looking through things with like rose tinted glasses.
Or maybe male tinted glasses.
I don't know. I like Black Widow. I like Natasha. Like, I like her character.
Just not leading her own movie.
I don't know. I think she was definitely the best part of it. But like the CGI
really?
and the CGI and the pacing. Well, actually, they kind of sidelined her in her own movie, but we'll talk about that. But the CGI and the pacing and the writing and like some of the like set pieces, they just felt, I don't know, they almost felt like Netflix quality, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Like just a little unpolished, just a little behind. And you know, there can be reasons for that, but
Are you
ultimately
saying in terms of like the production quality?
production quality is part of it, absolutely, but also just like Netflix movies, we talk about this a lot, how they have this issue where like the pacing's a little off,
Yeah,
the writing's a little off, and like I felt that in this
yeah.
movie. And maybe it's been so long since I've watched a Marvel movie, or maybe I just don't care as much anymore, but it definitely felt like I didn't really like it. I there were some parts that were interesting, which we'll talk about, but it's a draw for me.
Okay, Everett.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a draw as well. I'm not giving it a complete loss because I think there were some redeeming qualities to it, but it's definitely on the lower end of the scale when it comes to other MCU movies. Also, like I feel like we've seen this movie like a year ago, and I'm like just now coming back and rewatching it because they've been doing like press releases and ads and stuff for like a year now, and it got delayed because of COVID. So it's been out in the world for a long time, essentially. So it's no, there's nothing new, and I know that some people appreciate it, which is why I'm not giving it a total
Wait, so
loss.
your
But
complaint is that you've seen the movie already, even though
no,
you
my
didn't see
complaint is that ultimately it's pretty boring. Like it's think about all the MCU movies out there. It's definitely on the lower end of that tier list. And like some of the things I listed were, she has huge plot armor in the movie, so there's really no stakes. There were some points in the film that I thought the CGI was actually pretty awful, which I'll discuss when we get into spoilers. There were some people I liked. Like I liked Florence Pugh. I like that she's the new Black Widow. I really loved her. David Harbour was strange to say the least, but it's an average movie. That's pretty much all I can say about it without spoiling
So
anything.
what's your rating?
A draw.
A draw. I just had a thought that I realized a bunch of people watching are probably going to be like, that's what Everett looks like. Don't worry, guys. That was my reaction too.
The massacre continues, dude.
Well, now we get to
Did you
argue
miss
face
this,
to
Everett?
face. Oh, I know I
Yeah.
missed this. Now we get to argue face to
No,
face.
I was actually thinking like it is nice that I can hear you guys. I can see you guys. Sorry, I have to turn on my air conditioner. It's way too hot. I can do it from my phone now. Um,
Ooh.
hopefully, hopefully it is not too loud. Let me know if it is. Um, so yeah, my rating is I also teetered between a draw and a loss because like I didn't hate any particular aspect of it. Do you guys hear that?
No.
Oh, you're not picking up the air, huh?
Nope.
Nice. I didn't hate any particular aspect of the movie, but I also think you guys were far too kind. Um, it's amateurish. It's bad writing. It's actually stupid on every level. Even though like some of the characters were good, the premise was good, like the potential was good. What they did with them was stupid. Almost like every single one of them was stupid, or at least executed poorly. The plot makes no sense. The ending makes no sense. As you said, she's surviving things she shouldn't survive. And it's like, okay, you want to make a superhero movie, then make a female superhero. Don't pretend that she's a superhero and then call it a spy thriller. Um, like it's really bad. So having said that, I think considering that I'm about to trash it, I think I'll give it a loss just to be fair. The reason I teeter on a draw is because I like Scarlett Johansson and I like Black Widow, and I liked Yelena and Florence Pugh, and I even like Rachel Weisz. I didn't really care for Melina, whatever her name was. I like David Harbour. I thought he was totally wasted in this role. So I don't hate any of them, and that's kind of what you come out of the movie, which is like I like the people. The movie was like nothing to even. It's unremarkable in every way.
Yeah. And
So,
can we go into spoilers?
Yeah, let's go into spoilers.
Wouldn't you argue, like, to me, and I don't know if this is because I haven't watched these types of movies in a long time, because when we stopped doing it, I basically just was like, all right, and I just like stopped watching a lot of stuff. But it felt really choppy to me, like okay, next set piece, action scene, next set piece, action scene, like almost disjointed.
Well, actually, Jade said, I asked her if she liked it, and um, she said it had too much action and a little too much Red Room stuff. And I was like, that's 80% of the movie. And she goes, yeah. And I was like, so did you like it? She's like, yeah, which is, I mean, that means nothing,
That's
right?
a no from her.
That means
from her,
no.
that's a thumbs
Yeah.
down.
So she liked the family part, basically.
I wasn't a big fan of that.
Well, yeah, I don't think it was. See, this is the difference between like me or us and other people. Especially, a lot of people like this because they want to like it. And I've heard other reviews where they're actually putting like their own influence into the movie, like pretending the script was deeper than it was. They're like, yeah, Natasha going back to fix her family is a metaphor for how she brought the Avengers together, and like how that's her family too. And it's like, you're really
that's grasping for straws.
like, yeah, we get that she clarifies that the Avengers are her family, and we get that this is also somehow her family. But to say that it's like it's written into the script as a metaphor, you're pretending.
Yeah. And the other thing is like the family stuff, it wasn't deep. It was like them making like very basic jokes. And then like they like had, it was one conversation stretched out over the entire movie. And like some of their lines when he's like, listen to your mother, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I like eating. And like, it's just like, what is this?
No, but the other thing about the family is like, this is how stupid it is, because they look at it for what it is, and then they try to make it make sense in their head. But the reality is, if you're thinking from a writing standpoint, she doesn't have a family. The Avengers become her family. And then she has a solo movie where she meets her family, but it's not her family. This is the family she never had, which was also kind of what the Avengers were. And then at the end of the movie, she leaves the family she never had to go back to the family she never had, because that's her family. And then she dies and she never even mentions the other family to anybody ever. It doesn't track. It doesn't track.
To be fair, that's a weakness with prequels in general. And it's why they're kind of stupid, because prequels always try to add like, here's this crazy stuff that happened that we're never going to mention. And like, it just sucks.
I think this one could have worked, like her taking down the Red Room. No one really cares about that but her. But
the movie even makes it like when he's like, I have all this power, like, and she even is like, no, you don't. You have nothing. No one even knows you exist. Like, that's a good point. She's right. Like, what the fuck is this idiot doing?
Yeah. But the point is, like, her taking down the Red Room works. Her having a family she never spoke of, it's just, it doesn't work.
And by the way, I have a theory as we get to like the villain motivation. I think the movie could have gone a slightly different direction of like what the Red Room and what did Dreykov, was that his name?
Dreykov? He's
Dreykov,
Australian. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, he has no accent.
Okay.
No Russian accent.
Hear me out for a second. Okay. What is the ultimate reveal of what Dreykov and the Red Room have been doing? What are they doing? Like, what have they done?
This is actually a criticism of mine, which is, in the beginning montage where they had that song with Zombie, what was it? What was that song?
No, it's Nirvana's song, but it was
it Smells
cover.
Like Teen Spirit?
I think it was Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how that fits into whatever was going on there.
It was a girl singing. That was the connection. It was a girl singing. Girls were in the Red Room. Boom.
Yeah. So don't you think that instead of showing Dreykov photoshopped with all those leaders, they should have shown the leaders with like the widows undercover, like highlight the woman in the background that was with them? They
kind of do that later, like sometimes.
Yeah.
But
that should have been the thing to extend the influence. Dreykov, I don't care who Dreykov is. I don't even know who Dreykov is at that moment.
Remember when Dreykov said, we stole this technology from North, which was S.H.I.E.L.D., well, actually Hydra. I thought the way they were going to go when he starts talking about, I thought he was going to say like, I was fighting Hydra the whole time. Like, he's not a good guy, but like this was what was keeping Hydra kind of in check. This like Russian.
That would have been an interesting way to go.
Yeah. It's this Russian intelligence organization that was not part of Hydra and was fighting him. And he's not a good guy, but that's his claim. He's like, I stopped Hydra. I fought Hydra. Like, I earned this. And now I'm going to sort of take their place. I'm going to be the new order because I survived and they didn't. But instead it's like, he literally is sitting there and Scarlett Johansson's like, you literally have done nothing the last 40 years. No one knows you exist, and it doesn't even matter that you have all this power if you don't do anything with it. And he's like, but I have power.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of funny?
Uh-huh.
So I can't find any reference of Dreykov in any of the comic stuff. So I think he's a purely
He is
movie
referenced in
villain.
Avengers when Loki
Yeah.
says
Well, that's what I was going to
something.
bring up. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bringing up Romanov's like Red Ledger. He's like Dreykov's daughter. So I think they just made up an entire character off one throwaway line, which is kind of weird.
Well, that's prequelitis. That's yeah. So let's kind of start at the beginning of the movie. First thing, when we were in the theater, they flashed like Ohio 1995 very quickly, in my opinion. I missed it. I thought it said 1955. And I thought it was going to be like, because it had that very like suburbia look, like, you know, and so I don't know why I read it as 1955, and I'm expecting it to be like the parents when they were younger. What is this? Running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute time limit. Okay, get away from stupid Zoom sending me messages. I thought it was going to be like something with the parents a long time ago, and then, or like when they were kids or something. And then I was so confused the whole movie, and I'm like, so how old are they supposed to be? The whole movie I was really confused, which
Black
is
Widow's
stupid.
like in her late 60s.
But I mean, I thought that was bizarre because my dad was born in 1950. So I was like, if she's like already like an older kid, I don't get it. Anyway, so like that kind of ruined. I watched it again after that. I think that the movie does pretty well at that beginning part with the kids and the family. And like, I think David Harbour is the best in that opening scene. Him as a scientist is just further proof to me that he should have played the Thing and not whatever this stupid character is. He would have been a perfect Thing for Fantastic Four. Like perfect. Am I wrong?
No,
you're
I
not
mean, I
wrong.
think you're right, but I think part of the reason he was so great in that scene is because he's kind of a character at the beginning. Like he's strong, he's confident, he's kind of funny, but like he's his own person.
Yeah,
After
he's
that,
more well-rounded.
He becomes comedic, like
yeah,
to the extreme that it's dumb. And another thing you were saying about
that
the
is
age
what's
stuff,
wrong with it.
Another thing you were saying about the age stuff, like when does this movie take place? What year?
It's right after Civil War.
This is right after Civil War. Yeah.
So what year is that? Like in universe?
2016, I think.
2016. Okay, so Natasha's like 43.
She's getting old. She's starting to show it. I like Scarlett Johansson, but she's starting to show it a little bit. Even her Hot Toys figures we were talking last night, it looks a little older.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, we always talk about like suspension of disbelief and how hard this is. But like when you're showing like she's like 9 or 10 in 1985.
It was 1995.
1995. And then it's like, okay, now it's like 20 years later, like, and she's a spy still, like, who's super badass.
Well, her sister was 6, which would have been my age. So I'm 30. I'm about to be 31. So Florence Pugh is roughly 30 years old right now.
Okay.
Well, I mean, in the universe, not Florence, but Yelena. Yeah. I don't know how old Florence Pugh is. Scarlett Johansson has always been older than me, in universe and in real life. So I'm guessing she's closer to 40 in the universe.
Yeah, and it's just like
that girl seemed like 10 or 11.
She's like, I don't know. It sounds like nitpicky, but like her like being a spy and doing all this badass shit. I guess that could explain why she like.
No. I mean, there's no argument. The stuff that she does in this movie is like unexplainable. It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't write scenes like that, but there's plenty to get into. So I like that scene. I kind of don't like the airplane part but whatever, you know, he's the Red Guardian. They're trying to show that he's a superhero. He's like holding on to the side of the plane.
Yeah, but that's not even like, at that point, I was just like, is he going to like get back in? Is he going to do the whole ride on the wing? Like,
yeah. And then they're shooting at the plane a lot. And I'm already thinking like, wow, I guess they're really going to kind of suspend the disbelief. I had no idea what we were in for later in the movie in terms of like plot armor, but.
Oh yeah.
Well, you kind of glossed over. Didn't he flip like a tractor or something in front of that plane?
That was a cool scene. That was okay
because it shows you. It shows you. Doesn't tell you that he's superpowered.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good writing.
Yeah.
But have we ever seen like Captain America do anything that heavy at least?
No,
Like, he held
actually,
back the helicopter.
can we
but-
talk about the super soldier serum again?
The
We
fact
talked
that
about
everyone has it.
what is going on. Like, why do they pretend like there's only one vial and only this one guy was able to reproduce it and then he died, and then they just keep playing that up, but it's all over the place.
Yeah, and they keep acting like
Yeah.
Captain America, like if someone has this, it would be the end. But it's like it turns out there's like 70 of these guys, and they basically just get dealt with. So
I don't understand. Russia gave it to Red Guardian, but Russia / Hydra also had Bucky, and they also had all those other Winter Soldiers.
and then America had Steve plus Isaiah plus
How did they get Bucky going all those years ago? I mean, that's the real plot hole, is like they had the serum like what, 1950, 1960 at the latest.
Well, maybe they gave him the same version that they gave Red Guardian, because Red Guardian's obviously like in his 30s or 40s by the time that like the 90s is happening.
I guess.
but whatever, like the thing with Red Guardian, and this is an issue I have with the super soldiers in general. Like fucking John Walker kind of has the example of this. Sometimes really strong and really effective, and sometimes they're just like normal dude, but like slightly better.
Yeah, the MCU has kind of fallen off the tracks in terms of like control. Like it's all over the place right now.
Yeah. And it's annoying because like when you see him kick that tractor, you're like, oh, he's really strong. But then later you get the vibe of like, oh, like 4 guys could probably bring him down.
Right. So then we get to like present day where Natasha is
Running for
eluding
Ross.
General Ross. And I get General Ross is in there. He doesn't do much, but I think he's still just there to be the face of the government.
Mhm.
He looks like he might die soon, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't he
so.
look a little sickly?
He looks very sickly. I was going to
Yeah.
say that actually.
We're never gonna get Red Hulk then. That sucks.
Well, it would also suck that he's going to die, Everett. But yeah, the comic character, like, I guess
But
that's
Red Hulk,
secondary.
man.
You know, a lot of people listening probably had the same thought as Everett because they're like comic fans. So anyway, so she eludes him, whatever. Then did you guys like her little love interest guy?
No.
Is that what he
know.
was?
I think they were showing like that she has some type of love interest thing. I think women like that.
She seemed
Like,
flirty.
female-
It didn't
Whoa,
seem
careful,
like-
Kia, the patriarchy.
Yeah, but like the female audience, like I'm sure it was added for that, because otherwise, like a lot of women, they're not interested in just pure action. I mean, that was the first thing Jade said was too much action, but that's for the boys typically.
I didn't understand. Is he from the comics?
He is from the comics, but he's not like a major character at all. He's just, I think he was like an agent or something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anyway, so I thought he did a good job with his screen time. And I didn't really care about him much beyond that.
No.
So the thing with, I have a lot of issues with the choreography of the movie because a lot of it makes the character seem brain dead.
I agree.
For example, we switched to Yelena and she's fighting, or she's hunting a Black Widow that went rogue, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So all the widow has to do, to be clear, is to spray the vial in her general vicinity. And instead she fights her to the death, gets killed, and then does it.
You got to die the martyr, otherwise it means nothing.
I mean, why
Now,
can't you just do it
the-
immediately?
The devil's advocate would be like, oh, that was her last resort. Like she realized she was going to lose and she had to give it. That's the devil's advocate argument. The
No, it's
reason
not.
that's stupid, however, no. I'm
Okay.
just saying that's what someone will counteract with. The reason that's stupid, however, is that what if she was going to do it ever, she would do it right away. So instead, the only explanation that makes sense there is this person is a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that-
yeah.
And they're like,
She's a moron. Yeah.
yeah, and she's like,
She
I just
deserved to
want to
die.
keep this shit. And then, like, at the last second, she was like, ah, fuck. And she, like, accidentally opened it.
What's the purpose of the vial?
It deprograms you.
So
Yeah.
why is she withholding it against the widow until she dies?
Because the
The
plot
whole
demands it.
purpose, they're like, yeah, we don't want this lady to like be around in the movie, so we're gonna have Yelena kill her, and then she gets cured. It's so dumb. So I was already sitting there like, I swear the first time I saw this movie, I was sitting in the theater like, wait, is she a moron?
Yeah.
Why did she just fight her for like 10 minutes instead of just spraying the vial? I mean, she could have literally sprayed it at any time. Um, so yeah, that was stupid. Then Yelena, like, I mean, Yelena could, like, if she realized, which she seemed to realize immediately, like, oh, my brainwashing is gone, and this is a good thing, and therefore I should try to secure myself and the vials as soon as possible, and also remove the tracker. How about pretend like you're okay, draw
Yeah,
all the widows to you, and now you have a small army.
Yeah, I didn't understand that because like you can clearly hear like her backup saying like team leader, whatever, and like there's a beat, and I kept waiting for her to be like target eliminated, da 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 da. But instead she's like, I'm out, and they're immediately like, oh, she's rogue, killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also very strange to go from like, I'm a killer robot to like, oh, I need to escape everything right now. Like, that's a really hard turn. And you don't even really see her escaping. The movie doesn't show it to you, but it's implied that she just literally was like free and now she's gone. Like, she's a good guy immediately. So I think like, again, this is already, I was like, oh, this is going to be a bad movie. And, and so, and I think a lot of people like watch that and don't even think about it, which is like, I don't know who's right. I mean,
And
I guess
we're even skipping over. I hated a lot of the dialogue going up to that point. I thought it was simplistic. Like it was too much like we're like saying what's happening. And then like
some of the dialogue was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like horrible, but it didn't, it was like,
it was Netflix.
it's when your plot is so wrong that the characters and the actors and the dialogue have to stretch to make it make sense, which means that you're getting a lot of like pure exposition as opposed to like character dialogue. So they're saying things so that we understand what the hell is going on, but no one's actually saying anything. They're just speaking like exposition.
Yeah.
So what Yelena does then is she sends she sends the vial to the Budapest safe house. Is that right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And the guy gets it for Natasha and brings it to her.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then Natasha, and I know I'm skipping over a part, but
No, it's
Natasha
okay.
goes to the safe house in Budapest, and Yelena is apparently surprised at her presence
Yes.
and
Which
isn't
Natasha
sure.
even calls out and is like, you knew, you sent
Yeah.
it to me. Like,
She invited her and then is not sure she can trust her. And Natasha is also like, I'm not sure I can trust you, even though you sent this to me.
and I came.
And then they have a fight that is clearly like like insert action sequence here.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was like probably added later because there's no CGI involved. Because if there was CGI, it would require like pre-development, because
Yep.
most of the action sequence for these movies are done like way in advance. So so this is not one of those. This was probably added later to demonstrate that Yelena could fight, is my guess. So they have this like the most worthless fight, which the fighting itself wasn't that bad. But why are they fighting? At no point are they like, hey, I didn't come here to fight you. Like, and she's like, oh, well, guess what? I didn't invite you to fight you either. And they're like, oh, why are we fighting? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So I thought that was incredibly stupid. But the most stupid part of the movie is Taskmaster, who is there to secure vials. Now, every movie I've seen, I'm not a scientist, but every movie I've seen, vials are typically pretty fragile. Like pretty much anytime you see a
And
vial,
she blows up the fucking car.
it's not
Yep.
even that. She sends a fucking missile into the car. Her entire objective is to secure the vials. She torpedoes the car where the vials are in
On a bridge.
and Black Widow survives a direct torpedo hit. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah,
That's
it's
Plot, it's
moronic.
plot armor.
It's written by, it's not even plot armor. It's written by someone who doesn't even know what the hell they're talking about. Like, they're like, yeah, we want to like excite the audience with a big explosion. You can't torpedo the human protagonist in a burning vehicle. Like, come on. And what does that say about Taskmaster? The most worthless like messenger or carrier ever.
Yeah, but
Imagine-
Taskmaster is just a robot. So
Imagine I send you to like pick up a package, and then rather than going into like the UPS store and just picking up the package,
I blow up the UPS.
you blow it up, and then you go in and you search the ruins and try to bring me back a charred piece of cardboard. Like, what is that? What an idiot.
It's stupidity.
What a
Yeah.
pure idiot. So Everett, you're the expert on Taskmaster. We talked about this a little on the podcast for the figures, but I like the idea, and this is a bigger conversation about the whole mind control thing. I like the idea that it's a little digitized, and that Taskmaster is like basically inputting data that has analyzed all of, like, basically what Iron Man has. It's Iron Man's tech, and so that they can recreate all the fighting styles. I like that part of the character. I don't really like Dreykov's daughter. In fact, I think that might be one of the worst parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Everett, in terms of like the comic character?
Well, okay. I think I've said to you guys in the past that I'm a fan of changing the character for movies and television if it benefits the character and the show or the movie. If you can do something good with it, then by all means, that's creative interpretation. This character versus the comic character are completely different. Comic, first of all, is a man, but that doesn't matter. Let's take
First
that
of all,
out for
you
a
don't
second.
know that.
His name in the comics is Tony Masters. He was a SHIELD agent, and then I think he gets fired or he gets removed, but he has the ability to, as the same thing in this movie, to mimic any fighting style that he's encountered. I don't think it's watched on television or studied. I think he has to fight you, and then he learns your moves as you fight. That's like the whole point. In this, like you said, I like that they had like the Stark tech doing it, like the computer chips and stuff. That makes sense. But I don't know. They kind of like butchered the character, making her like an android type thing.
Well, they butchered it in a number of ways. Number one, the digitizing of Taskmaster's style or talent or whatever does not relate to the widows at all. And this is the big problem of the movie. First of all, Taskmaster, his colors or her colors look like a sports team's colors. Something's wrong.
I didn't even bring up the design yet.
Yeah, it has like a weird color. It doesn't even match. Like the Red Room, the widows, they're all black and red. That's their thing. Why isn't Taskmaster black and red?
Because they were trying to mimic the colors from the comics a little bit.
Right, but Taskmaster's not part of the Red Room in the comics, right?
No, he's a SHIELD agent.
So they should have made it like an even different version so that people wouldn't get so upset. But it doesn't. It's just weird the way that he looks.
I also think, Kia, what you're saying, like Taskmaster is basically, at least the way the movie shows it, like the final evolution of what the widows should be. He's turning them into like self-controlled things, like mind control. Like, why not make everyone like Taskmaster?
So
it doesn't make sense.
This is the problem. There's two major issues with the widows and all that. One, Taskmaster is having computer things, computer mind control or something. The widows are chemically controlled, but they are not benefiting from the technological advancements that make Taskmaster able to do whatever Taskmaster does. So there's no real connection between them other than they're both kind of being forced to do it against their will. But they come from the same place. So thematically, it's odd. The other problem is, this is pretty strange that we never actually see what the widows go through at all. And I feel like if I need to care about them being rescued, I kind of need to know what is happening to them, because I look at Taskmaster and I don't understand what the hell is going on there. And I look at the other widows and I'm like, so it's just girls who do karate? Is that it? Like, and then you gave them some guns. Like, that seems like what you trained them for. It's like, oh, well, we know from previous movies that they what do you call them? Like, they neutered them, or
They-
Yeah,
what's
they
the-
render them infertile.
Is it a hysterectomy? Is that what it was?
Yeah, but there's like a word for when you're, I forget. But yeah, they cannot reproduce.
They're sterilized.
Sterilized, exactly. Yeah, that's not in this movie. In fact, what, I don't even know what part of their training is in the movie. It seemed like,
They
based on
dance once at
Yeah.
the end.
They were
They-
doing choreography in that one room when she
Yeah.
passes by.
what is the point of that? How does that? And by the way, that's not the worst thing in the world. Like, they teach you ballet and they teach you guns, and then they send you all around the world to do cool missions. Like, I mean, was he raping them? Like, what was happening there?
I mean, he was controlling, like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's mind controlling them, but does he, like, because what, he wouldn't find as many people to do that if
but then
Also-
he has plenty of guys who aren't being mind controlled, I guess.
that's the other thing. He had a bunch of male soldiers that were happy to do his bidding.
Yeah.
And I
And
don't
they're
know.
clearly like something's up with them because they were jumping out of a fucking falling thing and like shooting in midair.
Yeah.
Like,
And they're
Yeah.
not, the movie does not suggest that they need to be rescued. So they're doing it. They apparently love, like, the Red Room, and the women apparently hate it. But it does seem like they're basically the same in terms of utility, except the women can probably access, like, more, like, spy stuff, whereas the guys are more probably easily identified. So the women are even more valuable. Are they getting paid? Is he paying the men? Because maybe he should just pay the women more. I'm saying, I don't, like, based on what the movie shows us,
yeah.
other than it's against their will because the movie says that, I'm not seeing what he did.
They
to
should
him.
either all be mind controlled or none of them should be, because it's weird that he has like, here's my mind controlled group of only women, and here's my volunteer group of only
Right.
men. Like,
Right. And it's so poorly thought out. I actually think what you said, they should all be mind controlled. That's kind of a cool thing. But I think, and this is a little tropey because we've seen it a million times, but I think they should have gone with the digital version. Like, there's a chip or something that's inserted. And so, like, if you break the chip, then they're free. The gas thing is bizarre. It's also really stupid on camera. Like, when they're all like, oh, like,
yeah, and they have like the Black Widow like effects, like the like red effects that come up with her name, like are like floating around them when they like have their moment of truth.
yeah.
Yeah.
The worst one was Taskmaster. Like, her
Yeah.
face when it happened, that was like,
That fight,
Well-
we'll talk about that.
Well,
Yeah.
think about it for a minute. Like what you just said, they're using technology on Taskmaster, not chemical engineering. So why on earth does that gas work on her?
Because I guess she's being both chemically engineering controlled, and then
Yeah.
the chip is for fighting.
yeah.
Okay,
But that's the
still
thing. Like,
stupid.
why do you, yeah, I really think that he doesn't need to mind control them if he can make them that badass.
You know what would have been a great rewrite, at least in my eyes? You could still have Taskmaster be a woman. That doesn't matter, but like kind of embrace a little bit more comic edge. Have Taskmaster be a former SHIELD agent and tie that into when Natasha Romanoff blew up the Red Room the first time and comes to SHIELD. Maybe she overshadows her. Maybe she takes her place. So she has that vengeful feeling. She defects from SHIELD or comes out when they become Hydra and then goes to the Red Room to train the widows out of spite or anger and then have them meet up and fight. I feel like that would have been a better story instead of here's my brainwashed daughter.
I mean, it's not
Yeah.
perfect, but you're right. Like, it's stupid that it's like, okay, Black Widow, like, are we supposed to be like, holy shit, that's the girl Natasha killed? Like, I was like, it doesn't even like track for me that would like matter. All like the shit that she has seen, she hasn't faced Thanos yet at this point, right?
I know. It's
But,
pretty
like,
stupid. Yeah.
She's still already done some crazy fucking shit. She's fought Ultron. She's fought Loki. She's fought the Chitauri. She's been through Civil War, like all this stuff. But this is like her real moment.
This is the thing. Like, I mean, there's so much to hate on, but so again, they don't show us enough of what are the girls being rescued from. We don't really see. We assume it's bad. Like, he's doing bad things. Now, the idea that he's like stealing orphans, and raising them to be. So you assume that he did that to the men too, but the movie doesn't tell you that. But it should be. He should have.
And also, if he's
taken the
stealing
men.
them as orphans, it should be like easier to indoctrinate them versus like I have to physically control them.
Plus,
Right.
if they're orphans,
too.
it's not stealing; it's adoption.
Well, yeah, but you're right. Like they might be like, this is the only thing I know, and
Yeah.
this is like he's taken care of me this whole time, and he's made me stronger, and that could be a good like dilemma for Natasha to be like, you know, the reason she is what she is because of the Red Room. So why don't you explore that a little bit? Why don't you explore like some people that are like, we like what Dreykov is doing, like we want to be a part of this.
We like that he has all this power and is doing nothing. Like it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's really just holding like a camp for kids. Like he's like making them the best they can be, and then they don't do anything else except fight each other. Apparently,
He basically like
Yeah.
places them in internships after the camp. Like
Yeah.
you're the aide to the president. Like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Think of,
this is what I'm saying. Like what he's doing to them is not that bad based on what they tell us.
that's some
well,
really
what they
shitty
tell us, they
indoctrination.
tell us repeatedly it's really bad. But based on what we like really see,
Yeah, no, it's not there. So anyway, so back to what you were talking about, Emerson, about Taskmaster, and also Everett. Taskmaster should have been Yelena, and you shouldn't have to hide that it's Yelena because we don't know who Yelena is. So basically, you show that it's a woman. Don't do this weird ass like let's CGI. Oh my god, the head on
Yeah.
the body. I mean, it's so bad. It's so bad. And also, you guys know who that is? That's the girl from Quantum of Solace,
Mhm.
the Bond girl.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and so she's
What
not a
an
nobody,
upgrade.
but she's not a like I don't know. She might have been in other things. I haven't seen it. That was a shitty ass role. That was a really bad role, and it's like it's almost hilarious when she takes off the helmet and you see her.
Oh, it's
scarred
really
face.
funny. And then he's like, it's hard for me to look at her. I was like, it's hard for me too, bro. Like, put the mask back on.
I mean, that's a supermodel. Why does she even need to have like a scar? So are they telling us that this is like a Darth Vader thing?
Oh my god.
Is that what this is? Like she got
no,
hit
it
by
was
the bomb?
literally just rule of cool. The chip is what's keeping her alive.
Dreykov was
supposedly.
in the building too.
Yeah, but
No, but he doesn't even have scars.
He came out unscathed.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like if you peel back any layer of this movie, you're like, wait,
If
what?
you want to make her look weird or whatever, you can have like the mask go off and she's just a normal person with
Why? Why make her look weird? I don't even see a point to
or
it.
just like that's what I'm saying. I guess it's supposed to be like Natasha's coming face to face with like what she's done, but I'm gonna be real. All that happened when the mask came off is it was like, okay, you didn't kill this one girl. She's kind of ugly. All right.
So
You probably
here's the-
should have killed her.
Here's the problem with this whole thing. Number one, Natasha has killed so many people. Number two, this is about her killing a child. Number three, she deliberately tried to kill a child. Just because the child didn't die doesn't mean that Natasha's guilt is absolved.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this is what it is. It's like, if I feel really bad, like if I tried to kill a child and then I thought I killed them, and then later it's like, oh no, you hit him in the face with a crowbar, but they didn't die. Here they are 20 years later and they can't talk and they like have to use a walker.
Yeah, they're fucked up for life.
And it's like, oh, so I'm guilt-free then. Like, no,
You gave them a fate
you're-
worse than death.
I'm still a
essentially.
person that hit a child with a crowbar.
And
Like,
the other
she-
thing is
yeah.
if Dreyfus or whatever the fuck is Dreykov,
Dreykov.
yeah, if he's as bad as they're claiming, then collateral damage be damned, he needs to go.
Yeah.
What do you mean? As
Like
opposed to what?
the movie wants us to like believe that this guy is fucking awful somehow, right? Okay. It sucks that his daughter got caught in the blast, but like
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand. I'm not saying kill the kid, but it's like, yeah, you had to kill Dreykov, but apparently it's like, it doesn't make any sense because how do you kill Dreykov and not realize that the infrastructure is so deep and that he's still alive too, and the widows are still
Yeah,
alive.
did they not check for his body? They just blew up the building and
Yeah,
left.
they didn't even check who found him in the first place. How did that person not know?
Yeah, did the fire like you think they would Shield would have been like shit when the report comes out of like Hungary or wherever, you know, oh, there was a bomb in this apartment, but luckily no bodies were found. Like you think someone would have been like, ah, fuck.
How about a child dead? Because I would have probably looked that up if I was responsible for the child's death.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say about what were we talking about? What topic?
Taskmaster, Yelena.
You know what's kind of stupid?
What?
So Natasha goes through this whole arc of she tried to kill Dreykov for what he's done and failed. Now she has to go back and do it again. And she doesn't even get to kill him in the end. It's Yelena that does it.
Right. No, yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I was saying is she's trying to absolve herself of this guilt, but she didn't like what she did, which is calling a bomb on a child, still happened. That's what she did. So the whole arc of like, I'm reckoning with the choices of my past. It's like, no, you didn't. You never really came to terms with the fact that you tried to kill a child. And if you did, you feel guilty about it, which is how you should feel. And that doesn't change anything just because the child didn't die. And in fact, you condemned her to like a life of like mind control.
She should have had to kill Taskmaster. She's like setting her free. Like this time she is killing Taskmaster because like she wants to rectify what she's become.
How could you do that at the end of the movie when you've already established that all these people can be saved easily? Like easily.
Well, you know what would be kind of cool?
Taskmaster should have been different because of the chip. Like this should have been something else. Like you can't save Taskmaster. All you can do is end the suffering that you caused.
So this is why I think get rid of the vial, get rid of the chemical stuff, make it all like a chip. Yelena is Taskmaster. She's the best of them, and it's no secret. Like, and when Natasha sees her, she should recognize her on some level, and start to. And then it should be about Natasha trying to rescue her sister from the system that she thought was gone. And then it's like, okay, take down the Red Room, like rescue the widows, get your old team back together, see where you can see if Melina will help you, see if Alexei will help you. It's because Yelena's still like indoctrinated. They have to get her out. You're going to go somewhere along the lines of like Steve telling Bucky, like, I know you. And Bucky's like, I know you don't. And like that kind of shit. And
yeah, there was a lot of like Winter Soldier-esque stuff in this movie.
You can't avoid that. If you're going to go with this whole mind control thing, there's no way you're going to avoid that. It's like literally the same plot. So it's either that or just give her like some other espionage thing to go around. But if it's mind control, anyway, Yelena should be rescued by the end of the film. And then now they're together. The problem with this is when you don't plan your stories right. And this is one of the reasons, like I used to think of the MCU as like this great cohesive thing. I'm like, this is amazing. Like we've never seen movies do this, like one here, and then they come together. When you don't do that right, which they haven't done it right in a while, since Endgame, you could argue, and then a couple times before that as well. When you don't do it right, like Yelena should have been introduced to the Avengers.
Yes. And she probably should have played some role in that insane fucking final battle where everyone on the planet was summoned to fight Thanos.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the widows show up in that final battle.
I didn't see the widows. I didn't see Alexei. You know, another super soldier. He's super great.
Even you could even argue that maybe Alexei or Melina should have died in this movie.
Yeah.
And it would have given like some gravity because they did it to save Yelena. And you know, like Red Guardian could have died protecting. Melina could have been killed by Yelena.
Do you understand how many characters they introduced to not kill in this?
I know. And so, like, and we talked about this before. Like, I don't know. It's a big mess. But I think Yelena should have been Taskmaster because you have too many characters.
I agree.
You have to combine the mind control aspect with the freeing aspect, with the family aspect. You have to try to combine those three. Yelena is the mind control. Yelena needs to be freed. Yelena is part of the family. She's the connective thread to all of it. The movie is about her basically anyway. It's not really about Natasha.
Yeah. Do
It's
you
about
like
introducing
Yelena?
I do. I liked her. I like Florence Pugh too.
Okay, but like, do you want her to be the next Black Widow?
Yeah, I think she's ultimately going
Um,
to be that.
I'll say yes, only because being a Black Widow means nothing.
Okay, but my problem is like, I don't like this idea of like kill off character, replace character with exact same character, but
I don't
different.
like it either. It's the comics, but what is a Black Widow at this? What is Natasha to the Avengers?
I don't know, but here's my point. Natasha should not have been there, but like she was like through all the Avengers, she's like the like why what can she do? Like the story has to often kind of like move around her, not because she's bad,
I know.
but because she's just normal.
I like
And
to
so
think, yeah.
the problem is now you're introducing another character. What the fuck? Captain Marvel's gonna be like, quick, Florence Pugh, you need to cover me.
Yeah. No,
I'm gonna arm wrestle Thanos.
it actually
again.
kind of breaks the movie because if Yelena had been with them, which she would have been, I guess she would have been snapped. So yeah, she wouldn't have been in that part. She should have been snapped. That would have made sense, and you could have seen more of her too. Yeah, I think it's such a poorly written, poorly designed aspect of all of it. But what I was going to say is I like to think that when Natasha brings Yelena to the Avengers, like Steve and maybe like Thor sit her down like, hey, you were kind of grandfathered in and you kind of were there at the beginning. You were from Shield. We were okay with that. The Avengers weren't a thing officially. Now that there's two of you, I got to be honest, I'm not sure what you bring to the table. I feel like maybe you guys should like go find another
And you know the
job.
funniest part of this? The funniest part of this is like the Avengers who were kind of like, okay, like Steve is like he's human, but he's superhuman, and like Iron Man is really cool, but he's a normal guy with technology. They're gone now. So now
Yeah.
her teammates are I'm a god who can fly through space and like burn things alive.
It's
I'm a
out of
sorcerer
control.
who goes to multiple dimensions. I'm a witch who can like rearrange reality at a snap of my fingers. And it's like, okay, and here is
I can do
this
karate with a
person.
Russian
She
accent.
has a gun and can do karate.
So let's talk about the Russian aspect of this film. It seems to me that this depiction is actually kind of offensive.
Yeah.
Like this would be the equivalent of like they made a bunch of Iranians and they were all like wearing turbans and like, it's not even,
All they're doing is drinking vodka, talking about communism, going
it's
to
literally
prison.
they're buffoons and they're drunk. That's
He
the
has
whole
a
thing.
he has a Lenin tattoo on his arm, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he?
It's the whole thing is them just being drunk idiots, right? The whole thing. And I get it's played for laughs, but it's like, don't you know that at this point you need to give characters some substance? Like, I'm not even saying to appease the Russian Twitter people, like not that, I don't even know if that's no one's really speaking up about it either, which is the funny thing. It's a horrible depiction. And I would say
it's just stereotypes.
And by the
Yeah.
way, this is the second time that they make fun of alcoholism. The way that they treated Thor in Endgame, there's little kids. I think I said this. There's little kids whose parents are drunk like that and they can't function and they're like angry and depressed and it's terrible. And every time Thor does it, it's a joke. And everyone like laughs at him for being like hopelessly an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And like I'm not sensitive about these things. I'm just saying there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in those movies.
I think part of the reason we're bringing up too is because in some cases, it seems like people, especially on social media, get really heated about like, you can't just label the entire group as stereotype,
Right.
or you can't make fun of this serious thing.
Right.
But then it seems like other times people are just like, oh, it's hilarious. And like, let me tell you, we obviously like, I watched Black Widow in the last couple of days. When it first came out, the Marvel Studios subreddit was raving how this was like amazing. At this point, there could be the greatest movie on the planet and Marvel Studios subreddit would be raving about it. And I would probably assume it's garbage just because they think everything is like the greatest thing on the planet. And it's meaningless.
And I wonder, like, does Kevin Feige listen to those people or does he listen to like us? I know he wouldn't listen to just us, not us literally, but like people like us. and other people who like movies and take them a little more seriously. But if he's really like lurking on the subreddit, like they love it, more of that. I mean, this is how you get superhero fatigue. They used to say, how do you get superhero fatigue? Will it happen? Will they make too many movies? It's like, no, as long as they make good stuff, there will not be fatigue. But when you make mediocre shit like this again and again, even those crazy rabid fans will start to be less interested.
Well, here's the thing. We're living in the age of boycotts, right?
Yeah.
Like company does something
Cancel.
bad, we boycott them, whatever. So there's currently a pretty big issue between Scarlett Johansson and Disney and Marvel.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a lawsuit?
She's suing them because she was like kind of, I don't know, she was like promised proceeds of box office, and then they released it on Disney Plus, which means she doesn't get any of that. But then they also gave her a percentage of the Disney Plus stuff, but that is not what they promised her.
Yeah, they have a contract. And it's like, there was some stuff I was reading about it where they're basically like, no, she's lying. She's just trying to sue us. Like, we don't agree with her. And it's funny to watch the Marvel Studios subreddit where no one is saying like, oh, maybe we should stop watching these movies or this is fucked up. Everyone's just being like, man, I can't believe Disney would do something like that. Like, that's not nice. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, stop acting like this giant corporation is like, oh, they're the good guys. Like, this is Disney. They copyright everything. They've got a media mogul empire, and their only goal is dollar signs.
Yeah.
Right. And to be fair, like she made a bunch of money off of this. This is more just like, what does this mean, like COVID wise? We put it on Disney Plus, and there wasn't a box office like there should have been, and they gave her a percentage, which seems pretty fair to me. But whatever.
My point just is like, I feel like if this wasn't Disney, a lot of these same people on the subreddit would be like, I'm never using these products again. But for them, because their whole life revolves around Marvel, it's like, well,
yeah. So
I saw one comment. Sorry, I saw one comment where someone was like, man, if she sours her relationship with Marvel, that means she can't appear in the Secret Wars cameo that's been rumored. That'll suck. And I was like, what the fuck is like?
So let's talk about some other parts of the movie. So Alexi's in the prison, and at this point he's just like a complete stereotype. I didn't mind that sequence, but what Captain America is he talking about?
I don't know either, because he asks Natasha later. But he asked Natasha later, does he talk about me? He never interacted with Steve Rogers.
Right. I'm like, I have so little faith now. I'm like, do they know that, or did they make a mistake?
Steve woke up in like 2011.
Yeah.
And he was in prison basically right after he got back to Russia in 1995.
Right. So it doesn't make any sense. So is he talking about Isaiah, which again, he's like 30 years old or older in 1995.
Yeah, and that's aged out because Isaiah was Korea, and then he came back and got fucking imprisoned by the U.S. government.
So it's not Isaiah. So who?
So there must have been another one.
He's talking about Steve Rogers, because otherwise, why would he ask Natasha, does he ever talk about me?
Or maybe it was like a fake. I mean, I gotta say, like, I just don't have faith in the continuity in the canon. Like,
it just seems like a continuity error, to be honest. You can't explain that in any normal sense.
It's stupid.
It's weird that the movie is like the people, the producers, the director, nobody came out and addressed who he was talking about. Is that going to be like some new show, like the Captain America of the 90s or the 80s or
Captain America versus Red Guardian?
So all right, so he's in the prison, and then they rescue from the prison. I mean, I didn't really dislike the sequence, other than like, I liked when she helped pick up Red Guardian, but at the same time, I'm like, she can't carry his weight at all. And then
I couldn't carry his weight.
No. And then the other part was like, I mean, all those people died, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like literally everyone in the prison, not just the prisoners, but like anybody who worked there.
It's not like they were innocent, right?
Yeah, everybody's dead. I mean, she has no guilt over that.
Yeah.
And so she rescues him. I liked her suit. The white suit is fine. There's obviously way too much plot armor around the helicopter. I mean, that was absurd. That was absurd. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, it is
Um,
stupid.
It is.
And the
Yeah.
CGI was, I would say the CGI was mediocre.
Yeah, I didn't notice it that bad.
I
but
kept noticing, maybe it was the screen I was on, but the whole movie I was like, that doesn't look great.
Yeah.
That doesn't look
It
great.
seemed pretty lazily made.
So then they go to uh Melina's farm where she's like training pigs.
Hmm.
It's like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like it should have been a chip. Why?
The worst I felt in this movie was when the pig was like dead on the ground, and I was like, come on, man, don't kill the pig. Like,
Yeah.
No animals were harmed in the making this film.
Now I hated this scene. Jade, I guess, liked it, but I hate this scene the way they try to force them as a family, where she's like, "Don't slash.
I didn't like it either.
You're gonna hunch." Like, and then Yelena is like being a baby who's like, "I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat." And
yeah, it was stupid. They
Yeah.
weren't adults and they weren't grizzled veterans. They became caricatures.
yeah, I did like when Red Guardian is like, "I'm out of jail and I have a lot of energy." Like that was good. The rest of it, I did not think was fun. And then Natasha honestly doesn't fit. She
My
doesn't fit
favorite
with him
part,
at all.
my favorite part of that scene is when Red Guardian tells what's her name?
Yelena?
No, not Yelena.
The mother,
Melina?
whatever her name was.
Melina?
Yeah, Melina. When he goes, you knew what was happening. Like when he's like, you're not innocent, and they like he and
Well,
I like that because it's
she
kind
is
of
a widow,
change.
isn't she?
She was a original widow, yeah.
So
Yeah,
of
but
course
like,
she knows.
but like I like that scene because it moves away from like we're a family to him being like no, there's blood on all our hands here. Like
Yeah, but that's the problem. Is like I like that too as a concept. The movie, like the fact that Alexei is basically like all in for whatever they were doing the whole time, and then he's just mad because he got thrown in jail for some reason. Right? I don't know why he got what was the reason why he got thrown in jail?
it's never explicitly said. He's just like maybe I pissed him off because I said he looked dumb or like.
Yeah, I mean, he was totally on board. He loved Dreykov. He was like, yeah, fuck these kids, like fuck this assignment. Send me to do more like Russian secret communist stuff. Like,
Guess
yeah,
it would have been interesting to see Natasha fight him in the Red Room.
but the movie doesn't address like Red Guardian's loyalty at all.
Because it doesn't matter. He's just a side character to show up, say some quips, and then do stuff and
And
walk
Melina
away.
is still working for Dreykov.
Mm-hmm.
And
But then
decides
after one conversation changes.
yeah, in that 1 minute, and we don't even see it because it's like the twist. We don't even see that happen, and she's like totally on board with taking down the whole thing. This is why I like Yelena, because she's less of a Russian stereotype. She doesn't drink. She's not really stupid. She acts a little like cutesy about some things, like a little, I don't know, like she plays like the naive girl kind of act. I don't hate her for that, but that's it. Like there's not as much like offensive stuff to her. Also, we were looking at the Red Guardian action figure. He looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like 100%, he looks like Santa Claus.
That's awesome.
I'm not even trying to be funny. Like it looks like Santa Claus.
I know. It's funny to me that you're not trying to be funny.
Yeah. So I don't know, they have the conversation. Alexei tries to make Yelena feel better. The one thing about their dinner table conversation when Yelena's like, it was real for me. I mean, that was good. That's actually a character moment. The problem with it is when you talk about how young she was, and then you try to act like they were a family, it was a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
3 years. So that means she would have been 3 to 6. I mean, that's not a lot of memories. And even for like Natasha, who at that stage in her life was probably like already dead inside, having been through the Red Room, I guess. Right? She had already been through it once, right? She didn't want to go back.
No.
But she didn't want to go back.
Yeah, but then like she actually goes through it the second time.
Well, Melina said that she had been cycled through it 4 times, which I don't understand how that works.
I didn't.
How do you go through it 4 times?
And maybe they just update your training or something.
Well, I think that
they recondition you.
Natasha must have gone through it then.
Mm-hmm.
And probably went through it multiple. Like she's like, I don't want to go back. I mean, they act like Natasha doesn't want to go back to that bad place. So she must have something that she associates that with. So for her, she's already like, all right, this sucks. Like I hate my life, but I hated it before anyway. I just had a brief moment. And then my dad doesn't give a shit. So he's not really my dad. He didn't want to be there. And the mom is probably dead. So then they go back after all those years. I mean, you're talking about 25 years, and they act like they're coworkers, like from a few years ago, coming back to like have lunch together. It's like, you
Yeah.
don't know these people. You don't really know any of them. Alexei is insane. And he loved Dreykov. So like, how could you sit across the table from him? How could you not like want to beat his ass? And Melina still works for him. And Yelena didn't know what the hell was going on. And so you rescued her. And it's like, you two should get the hell out of there. I mean, the script just doesn't work. Basically,
No.
it doesn't work in that way.
But I mean, this is like, we've just been poking holes in it for a long time now.
So then we go to the some of the biggest holes. So they enter the red room,
which is flying in a cloud.
Okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate it. But as soon as you see that, you're like, okay, it's definitely going to crash the moment you see that. So they go in and it's this bait and switch. And I guess, I mean, did you guys see the pitch meeting for this movie? The pitch meeting on YouTube?
No.
It's really funny.
I didn't want it to get spoiled.
He actually nails it. He nails it. And the funniest part was when he's like, yeah, they create this clever twist that gets immediately unraveled. The moment like Dreykov sees Melina, he knows it's not Natasha. Like he pulls the face right off. The body swap thing, they were trying to match the heights for, because I think Rachel Weisz is taller. And it definitely seemed like they were trying to match the heights, and stupid. So he figures out what's going on now. And this is a pitch meeting thing. Couldn't Rachel or whatever, Melina, have told Natasha how to break out of the room? Like, did they really have to do the face swap? I don't think so. Okay, whatever. So they go through all that. Red Guardian's entire purpose in the movie is to get his ass kicked by Taskmaster. That's not good.
No.
He didn't do anything. He really didn't do anything. I guess he told them where Melina was. That's it.
I guess, yeah.
And it's like, how does he even know? He's been in prison for many years. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Maybe she wrote him letters. Maybe that's what all that mail he was getting was.
Yeah, she named the pig after him and wrote him letters. That was her arc.
Yeah.
And then like they flew that helicopter all the way there. It had been shot to pieces. Okay, so I was just I'm disappointed in that. Like Red Guardian was
he's a waste. He's just a caricature and then he's gone.
Yeah. And then Melina, who like I guess gets them out and then blows up the ship with everyone still in it. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, you'd think those guards would have just shot her instead of being like, hey, step away from the engines. Like, we're all aiming at you right now.
So are you telling me that rather than get everyone captured, Melina could have just gone up there herself because she's clearly welcome and just blown it up from the inside, thus destroying the Red Room? I guess you would have killed some widows with it, but like, that's like a drop in the bucket compared to all the people they killed in the prison. So, yeah. And then, okay, so there's Melina. So either Melina could have just done the whole thing herself. It should have been her movie, maybe. Natasha then has this stupid sequence where she's like, I can't hit you because of pheromones.
Yeah, and then she's like clearly getting him to punch her. And then it like flashbacks like she was aware the whole time.
So why is he punching her?
Because she starts saying mean things to him.
But why does she want him to do that?
Because she wants him to break her nose to cut off the pheromones.
But it doesn't even happen.
No, she literally goes, you failed, so I'll have to do it myself. And she breaks her own nose.
So he knows that if he severs the nerve, that she can attack him.
So he's holding back.
But he punches her anyway. Like, why don't you kick her in the ribs? Why do you punch her only in the face where it might do the one thing that you don't want to happen? And then he doesn't. Yeah, I guess he's either holding back or he's like can't do it. And this is a pitch meeting criticism. Could she have stood at the other end of the room and shot him? No.
Could she have controlled like a machine to shoot
What
him?
is the distance? Because later Yelena like destroys his plane. So what is the distance? So the movie doesn't know. They didn't think about it. But anyway, back to the room. So then Scarlett Johansson, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen it twice. She smashes her nose to sever the nerve on the flat part of the table. It's not even like the edge. That's just basically a broken nose. Why couldn't Dreykov could have broke her nose easily? There was
I
no
guess.
surgical like precision.
No, she just had to break her nose.
It's really dumb.
Yeah,
It's
so
really dumb.
and then like he still escapes. Like she doesn't even manage to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, and then I have another gripe with just like the power scaling here. When their car flips over, when her and Yelena are like running out of the city or whatnot, when their car flips over and they get out of the car, Taskmaster is still right after them.
Mhm.
Yelena wants to stop and dress her wound, and Natasha's like, "No, you need to keep going," which gave me the impression that Yelena was actually kind of a younger, like inexperienced widow.
Mhm.
But she was a leader.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't really make sense. Like, so Yelena doesn't know that she needs to move before she stops and dresses the wound. That
I
seems
feel like
like
that would be some day one stuff.
pretty
Yeah.
amateurish work there. So Natasha has to tell her, like, no, we have to go. Don't do this now. So I'm thinking, okay, there's Natasha, who maybe is the best of them. And then there's Yelena, who I'm guessing is going to be like the best next one as she comes up in her like skill.
Mm-hmm.
But then Natasha fights like 12 of the widows by herself. And I'm like, so are the widows garbage?
Yeah.
Is
It
this
turns
what
out the reason Dreykov or whatever is so obsessed with Natasha is because she's the only one that's like a success and the rest are trash. What a crazy twist that the reason he hasn't done anything isn't because he's like hiding, it's because they're all fucking awful and
They
he
all
needs
got caught.
Natasha back
Yeah.
because he's like, you're the only one who seems to be doing something. So
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was feeling. I was like, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, Natasha is better than like an entire room of widows. And Natasha is like worthless in terms of Avengers. So Yelena is beneath Natasha. Is she also like 1/12 of Natasha? And if so, what is Dreykov doing then? It goes back, like we never see they shoot guns, they're marksmen, but then why don't they shoot her? Why do they try to fight her hand? They can't do it. They're bad. 12
Yeah,
of
it
them.
makes no sense.
And then of course they throw the vial in there and like they're all like, oh, just stupid faces. So the whole thing's crashing down. Yelena, despite the pheromones, kills Dreykov. And it's like, okay, he dies in an explosion. We know that Dreykov's dead. Cool. The guy we never cared about is definitely dead this time. Who cares? It should have been just about Taskmaster. Anyway, then there's like they're falling, and that's okay, I guess. They fall on the ground, which they survive another like impossible thing. They fall on the ground, and then she just does. It's like, okay, now we got to deal with Taskmaster again, and she just does the vial, and it's like, you're free now. It's like, okay, but what's wrong with her? Like, we still don't know, like, what is actually wrong with Taskmaster? Why does she wear that outfit? And does she need the outfit? Does she need to be like in a bubble? Like, does she have severe burns? Is she Darth Vader?
Also, I was like, is she just gonna come back and be a villain again? Like she's free but just evil?
Or is she
like,
gonna be a hero now? Like, I don't ever want to see this again.
yeah,
You know, it'd be
no.
kind of funny if she
I'm
cracked the
shocked you
vial.
watched it twice.
It'd be funny if
Well,
she
Jade
cracked the
hadn't
vial
seen
on
it.
her. Like she cracks the vial on her and she's like, "You're free now," and then she just pops right back up and starts like hitting
but
her
in
again.
that fight, it's dumb because doesn't right before she pops the vial, she goes, "All right, let's do this," and then she immediately 5 minutes later is like, "Wait, you don't want to do this."
Yeah. This is another one where she could have just popped the vial like from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then they have like a reunion on the ground with the family. Again,
Yeah.
back to the thematic point of this. She has a family. It's the Avengers. That's the point. Now you're telling me she has another family.
She's got a lot of families, dude.
Then she says goodbye to this family that means so much to her so she could go to the Avengers who have splintered. And her reasoning is like, well, I put us back together. Well, what are you now? What is this group of people now? Are you going to go on missions together? Like, what have you put back together? Alexi's still like a buffoon. Melina was working for the bad guy right up until like 5 minutes ago. And Yelena is the only one we're salvaging. So like, you're going to leave her with them? And you're going to go back to the Avengers who are doing nothing. Take her with you. She doesn't do that.
It's ridiculous.
She tells them to leave, which is like, how do they escape when General Ross is right there? They're not like, Melina's not super powered. Yelena's not super powered. Yeah, maybe Alexi could run away, I guess.
He carries the both of them on
They
his
should
back
be
and just
captured
runs.
and arrested, like knees in their back, like guys in armor all over. Like, we never see General Ross say a word to Natasha about any of it, but we know that he doesn't like her and he doesn't approve based on Infinity War. Yet it fades to black 2 weeks later, she's free, which implies that General Ross has approved her escape.
And yet he's trying to capture her like a year or two after.
That's the implication, is that he approved, but we're supposed to assume that she escaped again. It's like, well, why is this even in the movie then? This is stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
It's all over the place. Yeah, and then you get the thing at the end where it's like Jeremy Renner killed Natasha. Come
Which
on.
is, and hey, the Countess Di Fontina, she's back, bro.
First of all, how does she even know that what happened? Like, how does she even know that?
I don't know. I assume Jeremy Renner told some people, and then everyone else did a press release.
Yeah, like seriously, how is this common knowledge? And then it's like he killed Natasha. And so what is this going to be? Like a basic mix-up where they fight, and then finally at the end of the fight sequence, they're like, oh, by the way, here's the misunderstanding. Let me clear it up for you.
Yeah, and then they fight the real villain and da 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 da.
But you're never going to get to see it in the movie because it's on Disney Plus in the Hawkeye show. Hooray.
The only thing that I like about this whole idea is if you've read the Matt Fraction Hawkeye, which coincidentally I have right next to me, they have like this Russian gang that he fights. And it's kind of funny because they're constantly saying bro. Like, I'm trying to find a panel. I can't find it. But they're constantly saying like bro, and they're kind of like idiots. And I wonder if she's going to show up with like a gang of Russian guys. But even if she did, what would that even mean for her character? So she started making all these Russian friends, or
well, she's working for the Countess, who's putting out hits for pay.
Yeah, right.
She's like a mercenary or something.
So is the whole movie going to be them running from her? And also, what is the Countess? I hate the Countess. I like Elaine from Seinfeld. I hate this character.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because it's like her U.S. agent Yelena now. Like, what the fuck?
The more she shows up, the worse it is.
Yeah. What are the rumors?
This like
she's forming the Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts or something?
The Dark Avengers. Honestly, if she takes fucking budget Captain America and Yelena to like start her team, then I'm not concerned in the slightest.
Yeah. I'm being honest. I think that the MCU sucks.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
It's been sucking for a while.
That's why I was saying, like, I don't know, like, if it's because I took a break, but I do know, like, I could go back, watch Iron Man 1 right now and be like, this is fucking awesome.
I watched Doctor Strange. Good movie.
Yeah, solid movie.
Good movie.
Spider-Man Far From Home. Awesome.
WandaVision is a snore fest.
And you know why?
Falcon and Winter Soldier's blah.
Because the MCU and superhero culture right now has gotten to that point where
too big to fail.
Yeah, you can make whatever you want, and as long as there's superheroes and references and it has the MCU intro, people will watch it, people will buy the merch, and they will love it regardless. Yeah, exactly. There'll be total shills for it, and you'll make all your money that you ever wanted, regardless of quality.
If I was
Emerson's practicing for his webcam show later.
If I was an investor, if I was a fucking investor in Marvel, I would be ecstatic right now. Like, we can put out anything. We just have to say, like, oh, we're gonna like connect it to some stuff that'll spawn 7 more spin-offs that you'll pay for. Like,
I mean, how is Armor Wars even a show? Like, I can't believe they're making that.
You know what's sad? The only show like I'm really excited for now is the What If, simply because it'll revisit some characters that I miss.
Yeah.
And say, like, here's a way they could have gone. But for all we know, that's gonna be fucking garbage too. It'll be like, what if Iron Man was I don't know, fucking Serbian. And it's just like he's the same, but he has an accent.
Yeah. I think collecting wise, I'm pretty much going to stick with the older stuff like Infinity Saga stuff. New stuff would be only variations of those previous characters. And something really has to sell me because the storytelling is not good.
Maybe Doctor Strange too.
Emerson, what if the MCU was still good?
The plot holes are all over the place. Now, I haven't seen Loki all the way. I am enjoying Loki, but I will say there's already two major like flaws in the plot. One, magic doesn't work where he is. So he should revert to a frost giant, which he can't because no one even knows what that will look like because it doesn't make sense that he's a fucking frost giant and then the magic makes him look human. Like, is he going to get large? Is he just going to turn blue? Like, he's not half frost giant. He's a full frost giant, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Then the other thing is like the Avengers, and this is a pitch meeting thing. The Avengers were supposed to do their time traveling, but Loki wasn't, but they only did some of their time traveling because Loki stole the cube. So what about the time traveling that they did? You know, like that, they should at least have to answer for that. Emerson, have you watched Loki?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay.
But I've been keeping up with it other ways.
I enjoy it. I think I'm on episode 3.
Okay.
How many episodes
There's
were
only
there?
6 episodes.
So
I think, yeah. You're almost done with it.
I have to watch it with Jade. That's the problem. So that's why I'm going through it slowly. So we'll do the Green Knight and then probably Harry Potter, and maybe by then I'll be done with Loki.
Yeah, and then I'll watch it. But I'm gonna be honest. When the podcast ended, the problem is on Marvel Studios subreddit, they were saying Loki's amazing. Loki's amazing. And I don't
It
believe
is
them.
pretty good. It
It's
is
the
so
best
see,
out of
you-
the 3 shows that are
But
out.
you
right
guys saying that makes me more inclined, like, okay, I should check this out. But do you see what I'm saying? Where it's like, I can't trust when everyone's like,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
No.
Because everything's awesome.
Claudia told me it was good, and I didn't really believe her, but she told me the finale was garbage.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And you know,
You'll
she
see.
loves Loki. So she said it was good, and I assume she was biased, and now she says that the finale is garbage. So that should be interesting. All right, let's wrap this one up. And Emerson, do you have a fight of the week?
No, I actually did not remember to prepare one. So that's
All
Sorry.
right, back in the saddle. Here we go. All right.
I didn't remember.
Roundup, anything? I've been reading the Harry Potter books. I read the first one, and I don't want to watch the movies until I've read the book. So we'll do the Harry Potter ones slowly, like
Okay.
over time as I finish the books.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it. You know, the funny thing is, like, now when I like something, I basically consume it and analyze it to death, like multiple times. But this was a time where I would consume these and I would just read it once and be done. So I haven't read a lot of these books since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting to go back and see, like, is it still good? And some of it is like for kids, and I see the holes. Like, I see J.K. Rowling is less of, I didn't used to think about the author when I read books. Now I do. And I can see like where she had some weaknesses, like in terms of the writing. It's a little geared more towards kids. Like, it's a little too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think it was like, I'm like, wow, she's a great writer. Like, she knows how to make things fun and interesting. And I think the world is actually a lot more compelling than I remember. My favorite one is the 4th one, so I'm curious to see how that holds up. Because I like tournaments and all that. But
Tell us
Yeah.
when you get to the Cursed Child, if you're gonna read that one.
we'll see. So I am gonna once I finish the first one. So but I want to see Green Knight first, since that's a new release.
Yeah.
So we'll do Green Knight, then we'll do the first Harry Potter, and maybe the second one right after if I finish the book.
Okay.
All right.
And then we'll also go back and do our Tom Hanks stuff. Is there anything you guys want to watch that or watch that you want to bring up for Roundup?
I did video game stuff for Roundup, not any movies or anything.
Okay,
So I'll
so-
talk about that when we get to gaming.
Okay, we're at gaming.
Okay. So I bought and played through the entirety of Watch Dogs Legion. And I hadn't been on my radar, and I'd
Is
heard some
that
bad things.
did you
about
pay
it.
full price for that?
No.
So
it was on sale.
it's already like past its prime.
Yeah, it's on sale.
It had a pretty bad launch.
It had a pretty bad launch. It had a lot
Yeah.
of glitches, but I think right now it's at that point where they've kind of fixed the glitches. They've come out with the DLCs, and overall, I'd give it a win. I really enjoyed my time.
Really?
Yeah, because
It's co-op.
it is co-op. Me and Blake have been
How
playing it.
many
It's really
co-op?
good. As many people as you can fit in a lobby. You can fit a
So
bunch
how
of people
many?
in one lobby, like 4 to 6 to 8,
All
I
right.
think.
So is it 4
All of
or
us
8?
could play. All of us could play it together. The missions.
So are you recommending that me and Kia buy this?
Let me put it this way: the missions are 4 players, so we and one other person could play the missions.
Okay,
The
how about
free
this?
roam is more than 4 players.
If we buy it and we don't like it, and you would have to pay for the game, then would you
We
still
should have a
recommend
new
it?
segment called Risk It All, where each of us recommends a game like once every week, and then if they're wrong, you got to pay for the full price.
If you
Yeah,
had
you
to
know what? I'd
cover
do
our
that.
refund,
If
would
I had
you
to, okay,
would you think it was worth it?
if I had to cover both of your refunds, okay, I have to think about this for a minute, because like if you were any other people than who you guys are, I'd say yes, because I think it's a fun co-op game. I think the mechanics are really good. The gameplay is nice.
Okay.
The story is nice. The whole gimmick is you can take any NPC you find on the street and recruit them and play as them, and they all have unique abilities, and you have to find specific people. It's really cool. However, knowing the two of you and how we've played Ghost Recon in the past, where you go dark mode, you don't use drones, you don't like technology, you don't like any of that garbage, I wouldn't recommend the two of you play it because the game is filled with that.
No,
Like,
it's not that we
I'm
don't
not
like
against technology.
We play it like that because it's more fun, because the technology makes it way too easy.
Yeah,
In Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So what we're asking, if the game is built
Wildlands,
around
we don't play
technology,
Breakpoint. Breakpoint
oh,
is
that's
stupid.
true. But if the game is built around technology, I will use the technology if it is fun. So what I'm asking you, Everett,
okay, fine. Then
is it
yes,
actually
yes,
fun?
yes, it's fun. I enjoy it. Yes, I would buy both of your games and refund it if you wanted to play it. I
How
would
much is it?
recommend it.
Clip that.
How much
Clip
is
it,
it
yeah,
right
clip
now?
it. I'd have to check online. I don't know, but I think I bought it for $30.
$30.
Yeah.
You're talking $60 if we don't like it.
Fine, but you know what? I really enjoyed it. The only thing I'd say is your AI companion kind of gets annoying at times, and every single British
Here we
person in the
go.
game is a little bit of a caricature. Like, think of the most generic British person you can, and that's basically everybody in the game.
Actually,
Mary
you saying
Poppins.
the AI companion gets annoying doesn't actually concern me that much because I know how much you hate like characters talking. So like, I'm like, yeah, it's probably fine.
Overall, yeah, I really enjoy the game. I think it'd be nice to have other people to play with.
Okay. Also for gaming, Everett, you passed on this here. Sharing my screen. You passed on this thing here. Why is this over here?
This is just something I saw.
The Witcher
saw this,
3
yes.
is getting DLC inspired by the Netflix TV series with its PS5, Xbox Series X update. So they're getting new DLC
It's getting a
inspired
next-gen
by the
game.
show. Wait, a next gen game or DLC?
This is only for the next gen upgraded game. So you
So,
see
like,
there, like it's
Oh,
getting
so you have
upgrades
to
aside
have-
from the
You have to have
Yeah.
the new console.
Mhm.
So what are we talking about here?
I don't think they've shared anything except that it's
Free
happening.
DLCs. Oh, god damn it. Free DLCs. Okay, so free DLCs.
I'm assuming that means like a couple outfits and stuff, which I wouldn't mind. That'd be fun.
Yeah. As far as trailers, we saw some cool trailers over time. I can't remember all of them at this point, but The Green Knight was a great trailer. The Last Duel is a great trailer. Did you guys see the new Dune trailer?
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you think about that? Because I was not as excited about it.
I enjoyed it, but here's the issue. I'm under the impression that they're going to release it in 2 parts, because most of the shit that happens toward the end of the movie or end of the book, there are very key characters that are kind of obscured from that trailer. Either it's going to be a really horribly paced movie or it's in 2 parts.
It's 100% in 2 parts. I know where they're going to break it. I enjoyed the aspects of the trailer where I saw stuff that I recognized. However, I am concerned about how this is going to go over. I like the director. If anyone can do it well, it's him. Dennis Villeneuve. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, he did Sicario, he did Blade Runner 2049, did Arrival. Like, if someone can do it, it's him. But the thing is that it could be bad. It could be like
Cautious optimism. Cautious optimism.
It could be bad.
what? You don't agree?
I haven't read the book. It's
The
actually
thing
on my
is that
list.
like it's a complicated book to read. I think that it's
Yeah,
it's
the
very
trailer.
influential.
The trailer didn't suggest to me that this is easily adaptable.
Exactly. And this is why I'm like, it could be bad. Like a lot of those fighting scenes where they're using their shields and stuff, like, and some of the CGI, like the end when it's like Timothée Chalamet's face, like that didn't look great to me. So I don't know. And how they pace it, like Everett said, either it is going to be horribly paced, which is going to be bad, or they're going to cut it exactly where I think they are, which is going to like, either you'll love it. Like, I think you'll actually like if it's 2 movies, I think you'll like the first half better, Kia.
Well, are you expecting this to be like a faithful adaptation? Like they're not cutting things out to pace
They
it
can
to a
cut
movie?
things out. I'm expecting the central theme of the first half of the book is going to remain more or less the same, and I think you will like that. There's intrigue, there's world building, there's tension, there's like this war, there's these different factions that have like intertwined histories with one another. This is stuff I think you'll like. The problem is the second half of the book, and Everett can back me up on this, it gets real fucking weird.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty out there for as far as sci-fi goes.
See, my problem with this is when you make a movie, it has to stand alone on it by itself.
I agree.
So well, like as I was reading Harry Potter, I kind of forgot, like, oh yeah, books tend to have like more
Way
twists
more.
and turns and just stuff in it than movies. So I was wondering, like, how much of the Harry Potter world or book are they going to cut out for the movie? I'm curious to see, because I saw this when I was like in middle school or something. So I'm thinking about it, like, how faithful can they do this? Now you're telling me this book has like, because Harry Potter's pretty straightforward. Like, hey, it's kids, they're going to a wizard school. And yeah, there is a lot of exposition, but it's not overloaded in that first book. She actually does a pretty good job of like introducing it in a good way. So I look at a movie like Dune where I'm looking at the trailer and I'm like, there's a lot here that I don't understand. Like, I feel like I need to read the book before I even watch the movie.
This is something, see, I think the first half is the more approachable half.
When does it release?
I'm not.
It's like November or something. October,
November. But Kia, what I'm saying is that like
October 22nd.
I don't think the first half. Well, it depends how much they lean into the weirdness. I think overall the first half is relatively easy to understand because it's factions, it's fighting, political intrigue, this type of stuff. Like that's you figure it out as it goes. The thing is that like the worms. I know you see the worms and you're like, what the fuck is that? Like it looks like an asshole.
I know what it is. It is, yeah, it's an asshole for sure.
Exactly. But when I see the worms, because of the book, I'm like, oh, I understand what that is. But they haven't even they've hinted at it in the trailers, but there's no possible way you would know it without reading the book. So it's like, and even though I have read the book, I'm looking at it and I'm like, because I like Dennis Villeneuve, but I do not trust him. I think he might be able to do it, but I am not going to be like, I think he can do it. He might.
It's hard to, I don't know.
Cautious optimism. I'm telling you.
Not cautious optimism.
We'll
I'm just
see.
saying, like, he might do it. He might fail. I don't know.
All right. So
let's wait, one more thing for gaming.
Oh yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh yeah.
Is that new?
It just got released. Just this year, and it just got released on consoles like a week ago.
How much is it? It's on consoles. It's
on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's free on Game Pass.
Game Pass.
It's surprisingly fun for what it is. Me and Everett, we flew around like Calabasas and like areas we know, and you can see like everything. Like I flew down, you can see the AMC theater, like that we used to go to sometimes. You can see like the buildings, you can fly over your school, your place of work. Like you can see like, oh, hey, there Everett flew over his house.
Is that the whole point of the game? Or like
the whole point of the game, you can go anywhere in the world. You can play it real mode, so you can learn how to fly a plane. But I play on Lord, but it's the entire world and it has real-time weather and you can just fly anywhere. We flew to Dubai, we flew past the Burj Khalifa. We
Yeah, we
flew
saw
to
the World
Tokyo.
Islands.
How did you fly there? Did you have to take real
Well,
time?
it's it's a real time simulator. So the amount of time it would take to fly there is how much you actually have to take.
So you flew what, like 15
No.
hours? Or?
No, we flew like
because
10 minutes.
You can choose to spawn at any airport in the world.
Oh.
So we spawned at Dubai International and we're 5 minutes away. Also, what you can do is you can choose to start a flight where you're in midair over a place. So like I started a flight over like a high school that I went to, for example. And you can do this and you can just fly. I flew past where your house is, Kia. And I was looking at the neighborhood.
Is it there's no houses there though?
Oh no, it has the
They
development.
have the houses already?
It's updating satellite data.
Wow. So it has my house built. That wasn't built.
Yes, it has
like a month ago.
I'm not going to say it.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the address, but like it looks,
gonna
at
dox
least when you're
Kia
flying
his own
over it,
show?
it looks built.
Does it have a lawn?
No, it's dirt.
Okay, because the lawn is new. Yeah. All right, interesting. How much was it?
It's free on Game Pass. I think it's full price.
It's
though.
60 otherwise.
What the?
I wouldn't pay the 60 for it because you probably wouldn't enjoy it all that much. But if you get Game Pass for a month for $1, you can
Well,
download it. Try it out.
Also, on lower gen Xboxes, I'm not sure if the game would run correctly. Would it?
I have no idea. I don't even know if it's out for One X. I think it is. I don't know though. But
I don't know.
all I'm saying is that I'm surprised by how much I enjoy it based on the fact that it's not really a game.
Yeah, cool. All right. Moving on to some news. Let's share my screen. Now you guys can see the clickbait
Exactly what
titles,
you
same
see.
as I do.
Hey,
5
sweet.
upcoming. This is just, there's not that much news. So 5 upcoming Marvel and DC superhero movies that could flop at the box office.
Hey.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I 100% agree.
Yep.
You know what though? The merchandise won't flop. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, we were talking about Carnage on the Figure podcast. That looks kick-ass.
Shang-Chi, that's not going to flop. I don't think it even
China
cost them
isn't
that
happy
much.
with it.
Really?
It is. They aren't.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
No.
maybe it could flop in China then. This might flop.
They're making
can
another
see that.
Shazam.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know.
Alright.
I feel like the shtick is over for that one. It's kind of like Deadpool. Like we get it, he's a kid.
I
This
think
this isn't gonna flop. He brings in people. Did you guys
Yeah.
see him at the UFC event
Yeah.
that Donald Trump was at? He
Yeah.
looked so. I was like, dude, how can you look? I can't. You automatically dislike the guy. He's such a
Hey,
douche.
did you see what he looks like in the House of Gucci? Did you see who he's playing?
Yeah, I did.
I was like, why
saw
even
that, yeah.
bother getting him? Get someone else.
Well, that's like Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Hmm.
Wait, did
I
they
don't
just
think
skip one?
Flop. No. It was Morbius 2.
What was 3? Shazam.
3 was Shazam. Yeah.
What was 4?
4 was Shang-Chi.
Oh, okay,
And then
well,
5 was
we
Venom.
went that fast.
I've actually been hearing pretty positive stuff about Suicide Squad.
We'll see.
I don't
it.
think it'll flop.
Although
when-
they're
when
giving
does it
they're giving John
release?
Cena his own spin-off series.
No.
Yeah, apparently.
Why? Because he's a whore for China. August 6th. Okay, that kind of fits into our. Oh, that means Harry Potter will
That's
have to
this
get pushed
week.
back. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I watched the
That's
new
in
Space
5
Jam
days.
too. I forgot about
okay.
that.
So what do you guys want to do then? Because I
Let's
gotta
do Harry
watch
Potter first. Let's do Harry Potter first.
instead of Green Knight.
That's hard. No, because I want to talk about Green Knight with you.
We should wait on Harry Potter because if we're gonna do Harry Potter, I think we should do multiple in a row.
No, because I read the books, so like I won't remember. I have to do it while I still have the first
I
one.
mean, we
fresh in my
could
mind.
wait for Green Knight. It's not as a big ticket. I just want to talk with you about it because I have a lot to say.
We
How
could
about
always
this?
split the episode if you wanted.
What if we did like a just like a mini episode where it's just the movie?
I could do that.
What do you mean?
Like we just do like we'll either do an episode that's just for Harry Potter, like not a full episode, not news and all
Yes.
that.
Yeah. I'm down
We'll
with
just
that.
because we could do that like during the week, and then we could have
Yeah.
one for Green Knight because I do want to see
Okay.
Green Knight, and I
Okay.
want to see it more than I want to see this.
Okay.
Um,
Yep. I'm down.
and then we don't have to like wait so many weeks.
Maybe you could have Jade sit on an episode finally if we're talking about Harry Potter.
She might actually. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how we could logistically do that, but all right. So what do you guys want to do Harry Potter this week then?
Sure.
You have
Sure.
to watch it.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it like Wednesday.
that's not a problem.
Okay. We'll figure out when we can watch it. All right. There's a new Carnage. I don't know if you saw this, Emerson. Everett and I were looking at it for the figure because we want to buy the figure. Obviously, there's a Venom coming out. Notice Venom does not have the white spider. There was a
Right.
Halloween costume leak that had the white spider. And it seems now that there was also a Carnage and it looked pretty much like this, but it seemed like that was more comic accurate and that the film version might look like this unless it's outdated.
Okay.
Which means that the Hot Toys version that does not have the symbol that's coming out is still like worth buying.
Okay.
Everett and I are for sure going to buy this.
Oh yeah, he looks phenomenal.
Carnage is cool. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they don't try to make him funny as they tend
Well,
to.
it's Woody Harrelson. You never know.
Suicide Squad is certified fresh. That doesn't mean much to me because it's not
The only
out.
thing I've heard that I like is that like I heard a lot of the reviews are like, well, they definitely are the Suicide Squad, and that's nice because I'm like, yeah, kill them.
Yeah, I mean,
They're all
it
worthless.
sounds like he understood the point of it, which is like, yeah, they're supposed to die and it's supposed to be fun. A near pitch perfect blend of tones and genres, which somehow coalesce to form not only the film of the year so far.
Are you gonna watch it on HBO or go see it in theaters?
I'm gonna watch on HBO.
The thing is,
I'm gonna get
Jade
HBO.
likes to go out. So like movies that she doesn't care about seeing, I could just get, but she likes to go out, and so like it's like a night out. But it cost me $40 to see it, whereas HBO is like free, right?
Yeah. You just pay for HBO.
You know what? She may not want to see that movie, so that might be interesting. So this is the lawsuit thing. Kevin Feige said to be angry and embarrassed at Disney over Scarlett Johansson lawsuit.
Ooh.
He lobbied Disney against the day and date plan for Black Widow, preferring the big screen exclusivity and not wanting to upset his talent. Maybe this article explains it a little more. Her contract was breached when the Marvel Studios movie was released on Disney Plus and in theaters simultaneously, calling it distressing, blah, blah, blah. Emma Stone is also considering taking action against the Mouse House over the Disney Plus release of Cruella.
Who cares about Cruella? That movie sucked.
Well, legally, it sets a precedent.
Yeah.
Baloney was told that when the film began to tank at the box office, Feige tried to get Disney to make this right with Johansson before she threatened legal action. So what does that mean? Pay her more? Okay, so this sheds a new light on things because they're saying that the box office wasn't good enough. She's saying it's because it's Disney Plus.
It might just not be that good.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, because Captain Marvel made $1 billion. So, and Captain Marvel is worse, I think. Yeah. I don't know, actually.
And the character didn't have an established mythos. This wasn't like.
What if this is the best you can do right now? As far as like a big blockbuster film. What if this is how it is right now? People don't necessarily want to go to the movies. They don't necessarily have money for the movies. I wouldn't have gone to the movie theater if it wasn't. I was leaving California and I saw Everett. I saw Claudia. We went together. Like, otherwise, I would have bought it on Disney Plus. That's how Jade and I watched it last night. So, which means I spent $70 on this piece of shit movie. But so that what if it's not her fault? What if it's not Disney Plus's fault? What if this is just like movies aren't making $1 billion right now because look what else is out there. Like there's nothing else to really measure it against. Tenet was botched and it also was kind of bad. Space Jam.
Who cares?
You can't really say like, look, this movie worked, so you can't blame it on the times. It's
Suicide Squad might actually be the one that shows.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? But they don't have the Marvel stamp on it. That's the thing. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will see the title hero at the height of his powers.
Finally.
I mean, he already could beat Thanos. So
yeah.
Wait, it's Sam Raimi, right? Well, Loki head writer Michael Waldron, who also penned the screenplay for Doctor Strange. Okay. I think that's Stephen Strange, but the first movie was an incredible origin story of how he became a sorcerer. Well, he kind of fast-tracked it, but now he's been through that. He's fought Thanos and he's on the other end of it, and he's kind of at the height of his powers. Oh, so this is a clickbait title. All right.
Ah,
What if over 50 original MCU cast members will return for the series? Oh, wow. They really just put them in a giant
So Andy Serkis.
paragraph. So here's what we have. Andy Serkis,
Okay.
Ulysses Claw, Angela Bassett as Ramonda. I never knew what her name was. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. Benedict Wong as Wong. Benicio del Toro as the Collector. Bradley Whitford as Agent John Flynn. Who's that?
I have no
John
fucking
Flynn?
clue.
Here, hold on. Pause for a sec. Are you planning on bringing up the Shang-Chi trailer with Wong in it?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we could talk about that.
And Abomination.
Yeah, and Abomination.
I don't know who Agent John Flynn is. Should I know that person? Can
Nah,
one of you guys
I'm
look
gonna
it
say,
up?
who cares?
All right. Carrie Coon is Proxima Midnight. Chadwick
Okay.
Boseman, T'Challa. Chris Hemsworth, Thor. Chris Sullivan, Taserface. Clancy Brown, Surtur. Clark Gregg, Agent Coulson. Kobe Smulders, Maria Hill. Denai Guerrera, Okoye. David Desmalchian as Kurt. Digimon Hansu as Korath, another wasted character. Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark. Don Cheadle, War Machine. Emily Van Camp, Sharon Carter.
By the way, John Flynn, I think, was he's from the Agent Carter television show.
Oh, okay. Evangeline Lilly, The Wasp. Frank Grillo, Crossbones. George St. Pierre, Batroc. Haley Atwell, Peggy Carter. Jamie Alexander, Sif. Jeff Goldblum, The Grandmaster. Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye. John Connie as King T'Chaka. John Favreau as Happy Hogan. Josh Brolin as Thanos. Karen Gillan as Nebula. Kat Dennings as Darcy. Kurt Russell as Ego. Wow. Leslie Bibb as Christine Everhart, the reporter. That's Sam Rockwell's wife. Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. Michael Rooker as Yondu. Natalie Portman as Jane Foster. Neil McDonough as Dum Dum Dugan. Oh, that's the guy from Band of Brothers. Ophelia Lovibond as Karina. That was the Collector's assistant, right?
Yeah.
Paul Bettany as the Vision. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. Rachel House as Topaz. That's from Ragnarok. Rachel McAdams as Christine Palmer. Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. Sean Gunn, Kraglin.
I thought
Sebastian-
Topaz was in Captain Marvel.
No, Topaz is like that.
Oh, she was that
lady.
assistant lady. Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. Yeah, never mind.
Sebastian Stan, Bucky, Seth Green, Howard the Duck, Stanley Tucci, Abraham Erskine, Taika Waititi as Korg, Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, Toby Jones as Arnim Zola, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and Tom Von Lawler as Ebony Maw.
Wow. All right.
And no
Cool.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shit, I didn't even notice that.
Well, he's in it. Well, Iron Man's in it, but not him.
So Shang-Chi trailer, I barely remember it, but yeah, it had Wong fighting the Abomination, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's up with that? Do we have any idea?
He's in the tournament, I guess.
Yeah, he's in the tournament. I think they're
Wong's
planning
fighting
on,
in the tournament and Doctor Strange isn't.
Well, I think they're planning on using him to show just how powerful Shang-Chi is. Like, I'm assuming Abomination's going to kick Wong's ass, and then Shang-Chi's going to kick Abomination's ass.
All right.
Like,
Well, let's table this one because like I kind of have to go. I know Emerson has to
Yeah,
go.
same.
Yeah.
There's plenty more to talk about Shang-Chi next time, but so we're gonna try to fit in Harry Potter this week,
Okay,
Um,
absolutely.
and then we'll do Green Knight for next weekend.
And you will actually see us again in the next
Yeah.
episode.
And we
Oh,
can
yeah.
return to.
Because it's not see you next week. It's literally
Everett, I heard you're thinking about coming out here.
Maybe, you never know.
Well,
Fingers
then what
crossed.
if we did one all in the same
a
room?
real
Ooh.
podcast, bro.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
All right.
The fight of the week could be a
Sign-
physical fight between
Oh yeah,
us.
I have to say some stupid thing. Thank you for listening to the Iron Coop Fights movies. Please be sure to subscribe and review so that we can spread the show around. You can reach us at theironcoop@gmail.com. Join us for another edition of the Iron Coop Fights movies.
All right.
Usually there's a recording. I forgot to. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
See you next time.